of London, near Pistone, England. And this is, of course, very unusual because London does not usually have earthquakes. Well, England does not usually have earthquakes, but it has old faults and it has old volcanic systems. We even have a supervolcano in Scotland. The Isle of Man is a volcano, but let's go and see what's happening. We have a recent earthquake activity in the mid-Atlantic ridge, but this is the area we're talking about today. This is the area of the earthquake between London and Oxford. As you can see, a lot of areas around here, even Reading is a very big city, but that's about an hour's fast train ride from London, west of London. And I'm sure all these areas, even London, of course, has been shaken by this 3.9 magnitude earthquake. Unfortunately, there's not much information on this from USGS, but if we go to the aerial, this is the area that we're talking about. London is around here, Reading around here, Oxford around here. Now, this is the fault line that we're talking about. Unfortunately, I could not find many geological maps of the fault lines around England, but this is what I found around London. The fault line around the London platform towards East Midlands. And this is as close as I'm not a geologist, so this is as close as I could get. This is from Science Direct. And showing that the structure, the geologists noticed that the southern and western boundaries of the London platform are defined by basement faults, but the northern and eastern boundary with the East Midland Shelf and North Sea Basin are gradation and arbitrary. And we know that the population of London is about 7 million people. The highlights of London's geology and implications for current and future development. The London Basin boundaries defined by the limit of the chalk outcrop, and the basin is described by this geologist Sumbler as broad, gentle, synclinal folding, although its seaward extension is not shown. The London Basin was first used on the maps in 1815 and in 1820 to describe the sediments that make up the geology of London. The outcrop limits of the chalk were fundamental in defining the original limits of this basin. But understanding London's geology, it's necessary to go beyond the present-day geographical limits. It's really only in the latter stages of geological history that the idea of the London-centered geology can be considered helpful. The British Geological Survey commenced detailing geological mapping of the London Basin back in 1861, and they soon realized that the correlation of strata across and beneath London was not always as straightforward as it appeared. Now, there will be more coming out on this, but this is the earthquake has taken place within this past hour. Of course, it has caused panic because these earthquakes, this one was strong. 3.9 is considered strong. And residents of southeast England, around London, northwest of London, are reporting tremors. The residents of Aylesbury in Buckinghamshire, Hertfordshire, and Bedfordshire, Bedfordshire is where we have Reading, are reporting feeling quakes and their whole houses shaking. And they said that it was as if some sort of mini earthquake in Hertfordshire. Residents saying their beds and houses shook, the windows rattled, and they were scared. Another one said, "What was that? Felt like an earthquake." Bedfordshire again, where Reading is. Others added the whole house shook. Anyone know what happened in the Leighton Buzzard area? And this is where it happened, and we'll have more on this. Now, as far as Seismo Berkeley and what they claim to USGS, of course, not many people know that they can do that. Up to now, 210 people reported feeling it in this area west of London. I guess more will report on this. As we said, it just took place a few minutes ago. So we'll have more updates on this as the news comes in. Now, what about magma underneath this area? Well, north of Oxford, a little bit further up towards Coventry, we have Leamington Spa. Leamington has spa and spring baths because of the fact that it has hot spring baths because it has magma underneath. And that's where the Londoners used to go for their summer vacation. It's like a little London. Victorian houses, very quaint. And Leamington Spa is one of the very well-known bath areas. Also, we have the city of Bath, west of London, where even from Roman times, the ancient Romans built hot spring baths there because they have magma under there. Yes, we have areas of magma underneath the various areas of England. And that's why, since antiquity, they've had hot spring baths there. So we have faults and magma, and we'll have an update on this later on as the news comes in. So all of you there, please be very careful. Now, we don't know if this is a main quake or if it's a foreshock. We don't know, because usually quakes come in groups, and we may have an aftershock because of this 3.9. We have no idea. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.